Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our workshop with Aces of Venture. Today we're going to be talking about business development for startups and entrepreneurs. I have with me Eugene Lepko. He's an entrepreneur, he's a startup enthusiast. He resides now in Georgia. He has plenty of experience to share with us today, a lot of value to be shared. But before we get into it, I would like to talk a bit about the project so that everyone stays updated about it, knows what Aces of Ventures is about and what we are doing. So I will be sharing a presentation right now about Aces of Ventures. Feel free to take notes, to listen to it. And if you have any questions about the project or about the workshop as a whole, we will have a Q&A session at the end of this workshop. So what is Aces of Ventures? It is, as written right here, it is a global decentralized entrepreneurship accelerator. We aim to empower entrepreneurs to lead them in their startup journeys. And why is it called Aces of Ventures? If you know, Aces are cards that you find while playing at any game of cards. So Aces are us. We are Aces, you are Aces. The entrepreneurs are Aces. Eugene is an ace. Andre is an ace as well. They are people who lead their own path, who create their own roads in hopes of succeeding in whatever they do. And just like in life, cards are tradable, they are exchangeable. Sometimes we burn our cards, we play our cards, we do mistakes, we do good moves. So this is how the team of Aces of Ventures came to life. Now, to give you a little presentation about what the cards represent, and these are NFTs. So Aces of Ventures is a global accelerator that uses NFT technology to execute its roadmap. So as you know, in cards, we have the Jack, the King, and the Queen. In our project, the Jack, which is the orange card you see on your left, it is a card that enables its holders to submit their pitch to the community. Because we are all a community that embraces entrepreneurship, some holders will be able to pitch their ideas, their startups to our community. Now, the King and the Queen, both of them will be able to have a say on who pitches every week by choosing their top 5 candidates, top 5 entrepreneur candidates to introduce their startups to the community. And now, because we aim to empower women as well, the Queen card, and only this card, will allow its holder to ask a question during the pitch, and no one else will be able to do that. Now, who will be able to vote for the winners of the pitch? The whole community. Everyone will have a say on who eventually wins during the pitches. Now, to give you a small idea about the hierarchy of the Aces of Ventures, we have Andre Abiawad, who was previously talking. He's the co-founder of the project. He's a coach and entrepreneurship trainer. He's been speaking all over the world in many countries about entrepreneurship and training young entrepreneurs to exceed in their path. And we have Robert Abbott. He's the co-founder as well. He's a serial entrepreneur who has several established businesses, with one of them being a leader in our local market in Lebanon. He's a direct competitor to L'Oreal brand. And in Aces of Ventures team, we have over 23 team members, from designers to developers to marketers, and we even have several investors on board. So we are a strong team, we are constantly growing, and everyone is contributing with their own value to make this project grow. What is the main purpose of Aces of Ventures? The challenge is to distribute $1 million to over 100 entrepreneurs. Now, this is a question you might be asking: how will we decide who gets what? How much money does every entrepreneur get? This is why we have categorized each entrepreneur into 3 categories. We have the idea entrepreneur, which means people that are still in the idea stage. They will be awarded $5,000 if they win. We have the MVP entrepreneurs, or people who have already created a working prototype. They will be awarded with $10,000. And lastly, the growth entrepreneur, who are entrepreneurs who have reached and somehow established growth stage in their idea, in their startup. They will be awarded around $40,000 again if they win. Now, what we are aiming to do is to bring 100 speakers from 50 countries to bring value to our community, to conduct seminars and workshops in order to inspire our entrepreneurs to grow and learn from people who have been in their shoes before. Now, we have various utilities to the Aces of Ventures project. Some of them is the burning pit. In the NFT technology, you can burn your NFT, which means you will lose it forever in return for a perk or a unique deal offered by the Aces of Ventures. Some of the perks maybe getting a phone, getting a travel package, or any other deals that will be shown during the way. And one of our new, other utilities is when you hold your card. So you don't have to burn your NFT. You can also hold it and stake it to get rewarded. And one of our favorite utilities, which is the fusion. The fusion is when you merge two NFTs together to get one card, which will allow you to get more benefits, including access to over 1,300 lounges worldwide in airports all around the world. And lastly, we have partnerships. We are actively getting partnerships and sponsor deals and events to increase the perks and benefits that will be distributed to our NFT holders. Recently, we were able to secure a partnership with Live FX Exchange, which stands for Live Forex Exchange. They offered over 30 vouchers, which contained $30 each to the holders who were active in the Crypto Talk channel on Discord. Now, with that, I will be concluding my presentation on Aces of Ventures. And again, if you have any question about this, let's leave it to the end with a Q&A session. And now we're going to go back to Eugene. We're so excited to have you here with us today. I cannot wait to personally learn from your experience and to be able to share it with the rest of the community. Eugene, feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about your experience.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and guys, I'm happy to see all you today, this evening, to talk about how to make the first steps in business development for startups, how to make startups, how to grab some ideas, and so on. So my name is Eugene. I started my career in consulting, in management consulting, KPMG, and after that I switched to corporate. I worked with big DIY retail company called Leroy Merlin and launched their innovation department. I'm helping big corporation to collaborate with startups and create some new functions, business processes, and making maybe 12 or 15 pilot projects and make some impact to revenue. This big corporation. After that, I am switching to consult. My consulting practice, working with some project in dating. It was one of the first offline dating apps that was to succeed in dating market. You can ask me. There's really interesting. So now I'm dating some blockchain project that called Achievio, and we're making some kind of trusted, verified portfolio on blockchain, on open blockchain network, and it's going to be we're going to beat and overcome LinkedIn and our ambitions. So I'm happy to be here today and talk with you guys about our.
We are happy to have you too, Eugene, and this is actually remarkable. And I wanted to ask you, before we dig deeper into startups, how did you choose this industry, or like entrepreneurship and startup? Did you voluntarily choose it, or like was it a result of some decisions you made in your life?
Sorry, could you repeat my question, because I switched to the other network for stable my network connection.
Yes.
So it's going to
yes,
be
no
now
problem.
working. Yeah, thank you very much.
No problem. I wanted to ask you, before we dig deeper into startups and the entrepreneurship field, did you choose to be here, or was it a result of some decisions you made in your life? Did you choose being with startups working in this ecosystem?
Um, uh, you mean your ecosystems ACES, or you're talking about just sphere of entrepreneurship and startup field?
When you were choosing which career to go through to embrace entrepreneurship and go into startups and being a founder,
Mm,
was it because you had a random idea on a random day, or was it you building your career step by step?
Thank you. It's a very interesting question. Switching to startup careers and making some new project because I I don't have a feeling that I can realize all my ambitions and all my thoughts being in corporation. You know, all this business processes and function in a big corporation, it's limit you. So if you have some experience, maybe some ideas about how to realize bring new products to markets, you can realize it inside corporation, even that some big corporation now have some fabulous programs for internal entrepreneurship, how to launch startups or maybe spin-off inside corporation, but it limits you, always limits you. So I decided to switch my career to be a founder, and my first
Yes,
project was my consulting practice. After that, I switched into startups,
yes,
make startups.
yes. You mentioned that you have experience in building startups from scratch, which means this entails a lot of risks. When do you
Okay.
think an entrepreneur is? We know that we are never ready to actually do something. We should always do before you are fully ready. But when do you think you should take this step and start your own startup or start your business?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It was really interesting. Okay, everybody tells that you need to have idea, or maybe it's common version how to start your own startup, but it's one of the main delusion. I think that you need to have an idea. It's not true. First, you should to have uncovered pain, a pain that clients, some people can solve. It can be your pain. After that, you should evaluate your idea and check with other people that, do they have the same pain as you? How to determine the pain? For example, you have a financial or emotional damage, and you can calculate it, or maybe some people ready to pay to solve this pain for them. So idea is nothing, pain is everything. And remember, you always are going to pivot your project during the start. Second
Yes,
part, if you're talking not only about the pain, uh, you need to have some deep relevant experience in specific industry. It's a myth that you can go to new market and make some unicorn on this market. You should have some deep expertise in this sphere, and it helps you to bring new brilliant product to the market and solve all the pain they have your possible users.
yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
This is really interesting, and I wanted to tell you. Let's say, for example, we found a certain pain that we are sure it could solve something for potential clients. What would be the next step to make this idea come to life? And what are some mistakes that we can avoid?
Uh, One of the main mistakes when you find your first client, you start making sales to them, and you don't calculate their market size. You know, all these forms, tom tom sums, that target market, that market that you can reach in 5 years. So when you find some pain, you should calculate the possible market that you can cover, and after that go to your competitors and try to understand how they are going to solve problems that you can cover. After that, you make some competitive landscape, making some preparation, and after that, you can build a financial model, because you after learning your competitors, you can understand how to make some tariffs, how going to sell, how it's expensive or not expensive. So after that, you can calculate some finance, a top line, a bottom line of P&L, profit and loss statement. So your revenue and cost of sales.
Yes. So you have made an offline dating app previously. You have tried to build this app. Throughout this journey, what were the most important lessons that you have learned, or something, if you were to go back in time and restart this idea, what would you change? Would it be something in your process, or would it be the idea as a whole?
I think I've had to start to talk to investors as soon as I can. You should understand that it can take maybe 6 or 9 months to get your first money. So even you have not MVP, just pre-MVP stage, you have only team and just maybe one paying and first version of your product, maybe it's not ready enough. You should go to investors and start talking to them. And talking to investors is not you like going to pitch them after that get money. No, talking to investors, it means you're going to pitch them. After that, you're making follow-ups during 6, 9, 12 months. You're doing it like a continuous process where you inform your potential investors and tell them about your progress, how you're growing, how's some interesting changes. Maybe you are going to pivot, make it some pivot. Maybe
Yes.
you'll go to Y Combinator, something like that.
Yes, this is absolutely true. And we at Aces of Ventures actually try to solve this by bringing access to funds for investors in a faster way. Because as you mentioned, it can take up to a year almost to get access to funds. So do you think there is a better way to get to pitch to an investor, for example, if we build an MVP on our own, or should we just go out and pitch the idea?
There is I think founders should pitch every day as much as they can afford it. Elevator pitch to their friends, to investors, to other founders, to go to some pitching club and take every moment, take every chance to pitch your product, because as much feedback as you can get, it's great. Because I've pitched my startup maybe 100 or 150 times, and even every single time I've got some feedback from investor, from pitch session, from my colleagues, other founders, and it's continuous improvement. And I change my presentation, my pitch deck, so-called maybe 300 times, something like that. So it's, yes, if you even have an idea to make your it helps make you confident in your idea to go pitch just idea, and you can search around the Google, maybe or LinkedIn or other services where is the closest pitch sessions to you, and just go and pitch. That's all.
Yes, yes. And speaking of pitching and being able to acquire funds or pitching to investors, sometimes our ideas are just not ready yet to become businesses. So we know that entrepreneurs such as yourself, such as Andre, our co-founder, have probably tried to actually execute hundreds of ideas, but not all of them can be a success. So as an entrepreneur, how do you know if an idea should be dropped completely, or you should still give it tries with investors, with pitching, or to continue building it on your own?
It's a really interesting question. I think not even some guys from Mandex and Horvitz or Sequoia Capital know the right answers for the question. I think it's some kind of mix of your intuition and experience that you got. If you already spent maybe 3 or 6 months with your project, and you still have no pain, you still have no any connections to investor who at least a little interested in your project, so it's a sign maybe you should go to pivot your project or try to find another solution. So
Yes.
it's okay to pivot every time to start maybe 10 or 20 projects during your lifehood, and maybe one or two of them are going to be great.
Yes, 100%. And I know that you're working right now on a startup that is related to Web3, which is now the hottest technology on the market. So what would you advise entrepreneurs or founders who want to venture in this field? How should they navigate? Is it the same as the Web2 space?
It's not the same to Web2 space, Web2, it's going to be a classic way of making a deals. It's close to classic navigations, and also negotiations and to clients, investor looks like corporate talks and something like this. Web3, it's different. It's we're going to predict some future, and maybe most of the projects, the majority of the projects in Web3 are going to overcome the future, are going to see the future and how it's going to be look like. So it's more risky, but it's going to be give you more perks eventually. So yeah, and well, for example, yeah, all Web3 projects focusing on making community and try to make some PR, community management, and all this field, communicating Discord and Twitter, talking to investors this way and making some these things. If you compare to Web2 space, there is another way there. If you're going to make B2B sales, it's going to be LinkedIn. If you're going to pitch, it's not like new Web3 spaces like Zoom, and virtual pitching is going to be
Yes.
offline pitches and like 15 years ago. So yeah.
Yes. Have you had any trouble finding co-founders, or do you start your idea when you have a co-founder?
Yeah, I already had a co-founders when I started my started my way in 3 to space. Give me a sec. Yeah. So it's one of the main things. You can't just make random guys and making a project with them. You should be familiar with them. You should be a team that spent several years in the university or maybe on the previous job. You should work together, and you should live and overcome together some victories and losses. It's going to be making your like a real team. And after that, you should understand, startup team, it's like Avengers. Everyone has some super skill. For example, I'm non-technical founder. I know a little, yeah, how to talk to clients, how to understand the pain, how to sell, how to make a unit economics, and also you need a superhero who, like some kind of CTO guy who know and understand everything in Web3 space. So you should be, you should have superpower in different fields, and it helps you to build a great team and make a unicorn.
Yes, exactly. Do you think we should find a co-founder, then start the idea, or do we start searching for one when we think we need them?
I don't know. I think it does matter, because your idea and your project are going to pivot several times, so you can search when you have already idea, or you're going to create idea together. So it's just some kind of act of creation, something new. Yes. So it doesn't matter. So all you need just have some intention to build something new, to make some changes, to make a world's a better place for living, for example, because so a lot of talks about, for example, Amazon, but Amazon was a startup, and Amazon makes goods cheaper than it was before Amazon. It's it's for example, or Facebook. There are a lot of talks about this company and privacy and data, but Facebook and Instagram allows everyone to make a blogger of yourself. You can make yourself an influencer on this platform. So
Yes. Yes, I totally agree, actually. And you mentioned that Amazon makes goods and products cheaper than other marketplaces. We hear a lot of stories that entrepreneurs have dropped their products because they couldn't make it a perfect item to bring it out to the public and try to sell it. If you wanted to get your first sale to your startups, you probably will not have a perfect product at first. Do you think entrepreneurs should just go out and try to sell the product even if it's not 100% properly working?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, if you have an MVP and it doesn't have some 100% functionality, it going to solve some direct pains, some minimal variable functions, products that you can offer to your clients. So you're going to you need to go to them and sell it. So it's not bad that it's not complete and finished product, but it's continuous process. It's never ending process. So start selling your product helps you to get feedback from your first users, and after that making changes in your product for your users, not for you, for your
Yes.
thinking about how to
Yes.
feature product.
Do you think we should mention to the clients that our products are not 100% final yet, that we are selling them something close to an MVP?
Yeah, you should talk them that it's not complete, but because it can be not complete just only in your thoughts. For example, if you bring your product to clients and it's okay, working good for them, and they think it solves their
Yes.
problems, it's going to be ready for them, so it's okay.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Eugene, what do you think are the top three skills entrepreneurs should have to be able to go into this journey?
I think you, first of all, you should be ambitious. You need to have some ambitions and to make the world a better place to live. I think it's one of the main part, because if you have no ambitions, you can't build a unicorn or some big projects, or even you can't build a business that going to grow with enough speed. It's the first part. Second part, you need to have some relevant expertise in the field you're going to make a startup, because it helps you to run faster than your competitors. And also, you should understand that you are going to learn a lot with new things: how to sell, how to pitch, how to talk to clients, how to evaluate your ideas, how to prioritize all the backlog that you have, how to manage your first employees, how to distribute some equity between your first employees and co-founders, how much are you going to sell your equity to investors, and so on. There's a lot of things to do and to learn, to study during your way. So it's a really interesting way. So you need to be curious and ambitious guy.
Yes. So, with these three skills, and before we actually go to the questions, I wanted to ask you, how do you find the startup ecosystem in Georgia? How do you think entrepreneurs are navigating there? How do you think they are adapting to changes in their environment?
If you're talking about Georgia, so it's a specific small market. It's not a big country, so you can't make here some big unicorn or startup just so focusing on local market. So every successful product that I've already saw, they built some MVP and selling to some top tier countries like the United States, Europe, and so on. And after that, they started to move in. So founders are usually relocate to other countries when they have some successful product. Or, for example, if you not don't have big ambitions and you're going to create some good product for Georgia and maybe Armenia, you can focus on only on this, and it's really easy to make a monopoly on this market. For example, just make a good application for selling tickets, for example, to cinema, and spend not a big amount of money for advertising and marketing, and you are going to be monopoly for this little market. So yeah, this is the way.
Yes.
And if we are talking about ecosystems, they have some JITA, Georgian Innovation Technology Agency, some kind of institution of invested and helping early stage startups, and also some several accelerators that help some technical guys
Yes.
to make their first steps in this country. So they are really open to new entrepreneurs, technical founders in Georgia to support them.
Yes. So we can say that KPIs in Georgia are when founders or startups scale outside of the country because the local market is so small. Yes.
Yeah.
So Eugene, actually, we really want to thank you for sharing all this experience and for actually going personal into details about how you have learned throughout this journey and what mistakes have you done and what you could have changed. And hopefully people will take out as much value as we can. I sure have learned a lot from you. And we're not done yet. We still have some questions in the chat box. If you want, I can read them out to you and you can feel free to answer them. So
thank you.
Amazing. So we have Anupam. He asked you, after going through your LinkedIn profile, he was really interested in it. He asked you, according to the judges, what parameters are there to judge if a startup will do well or not?
To start business in Georgia, you're asking about it?
In general.
In Jana, could you repeat, please?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. What, according to you, are the parameters to judge if the startup will do well or not?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've already seen this question. So just will do well. Okay, if you're talking about early stage startups, I always look into experience of founders and they're ambitious. If they have enough ambitious, they are going to make not just another one application for something, and they have some ambitions. And they have really want to make a big company. It's first they have some curiosity. They have some ambitious, and second part, the experience in the field they're going to cover. So one of my mistakes and my co-founders' mistakes also were building some new products on dating markets, and we didn't have any experience with that. Okay, we spent 10 years each of us in Tinder and other dating application, but we don't even really expertise in this specific field of data market, and we're solving this problem by making some negotiations with advisors and sales advisors who had experience in data market. It helped us to make some successful move. So yeah, maybe it's the first crucial thing that you have. You need to have experience in the field you're going to, and ambitious.
Yes, thank you so much for this detailed answer. Another question is, what will keep entrepreneurs stick to their ideas or startup?
What will keep entrepreneurs stick to their ideas, startups? I don't know exactly. It depends on your maybe. Again, ambitious.
Maybe this can go back to when we talked about when do we feel like this is the time to drop this idea, or should I continue trying again and again and again? So I think you mentioned intuition back then.
Yeah, but you know that came across some startups. I met some guys who tested 28 hypotheses of their products as they tried again 28 times, and they finally succeed. And I also met some guys who tried 30 times and they still failed. So I don't know exactly, but there's some indicators that can help you if you're making some judgment after every single experiment, a testing hypothesis, if you come closer to your to pain of your audience, if you're making some money, if you're able to make some sales,
Yes.
you're going to succeed in this.
Yes. So there's no conclusive answer to this. It all depends.
Yeah.
And the third question is that, do you think startups have a life cycle? If so, can it be put into years? For example, there is a certain amount of years that startups can survive in. And they're asking you to consider this as an investor, not as a founder.
If you talk about life cycles, they have stages. You have some pre-MVP stage. After that, you have MVP stage. You're making some. You should make some problem solution fit. After that, after problem solution fit. After that, product market fit, and after that, you're going to scale your products. So it's. I'm going to talk in these words. So you have some stages, and you also have some death value. After that, you have some MVP, and you don't have a product market fit, but you have some problem solution fit. So you usually go after during this stage to investors and asking for money for them, because you need to scale to grow your team, to hire some brilliant guys that helps you to run faster.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a talk about the stages, I think.
Yes, definitely. So while we wait, if anyone has other questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. And meanwhile, Eugene, what advice can you give us for people who have yet to start, who want to start but have not yet found their way?
I don't know exactly how to say it. Just start. If you have some maybe idea how to make some maybe small business, start to make some MVPs. Try to make some MVP. Try to make some sales. This MVP could be just a landing on Tilda, or MVP could just be a Notion page that represents some kind of B2B SaaS or something like that. If you feel so that you are ready to bring something new in this world, try to make some simple MVP and sell it.
Yeah, amazing, Eugene. And if you don't have any more questions, I would like to again thank you so much for giving us all of this time, all of this experience, and sharing everything you have learned through the journey with us. And we actually have a new question. How do you deal when you are confused or lost, like you are starting something, but at the same time you are afraid?
It's a good question, because it's permanent permanent emotional state of every founder. You every time feel you're safe, lost, and at the same time it's curious. So you should be ready for this feeling, because it's going to be your totem feeling, your main feeling during the next several years, maybe 10 years. It's okay. You should understand it. Okay, and every founder feels it. If you think that it's difficult for you, try to find another founders in your community, in your local space, in your city, in your region, and talk to them about these problems, about your feeling on the emotional state, and it's going to be great. They're going to help you, and absolutely 100% going to promise you that they have the same feeling as you.
Amazing answer. And we have Anupam again asking, and this is something related to Georgia. He wants to ask if a VC from Georgia, what criteria do they have for a product market fit, and would they be interested in investing in India around digital wellness led by an organic Ayurvedic consulting? Do you see the chat box, by the way, Eugene?
Yeah. I see. Criteria for product market fit. I think it's the same in the every VC, not even in Georgia. You should have some. You should make some mean your unit economics, and you should understand how to scale it. It's not working for just product market fit. It could be on the small numbers, but you should understand if you're going to beyond and to big audience, you're going to spend much more money on marketing. If you talk about big audience, not your target audience. And would they be interested in investing in India around digital wellness? Okay, wellness, well-being, in all this field, it's one of the top, like Web3. I think it's going to be great. So I can, it's JITA, it's a Georgia Innovation Agency. You can email them on their website. As far as I remember, jita.gov.ge, something like that. It's really easy to Google it and just pitch them. It's okay. They're really open guys to talk to any startups. And you should understand one of the interesting things here in Georgia, they have a lot of some kind of UX UI designers. They're really good in interfaces, something like that, but they have really small number of good developers, software developers. So if you have some good technical skills, you are going to succeed in Georgia and talk to Georgia investor, because they're really hungry for good software developers.
This is great. And we have Andre, our co-founder. He wants to ask you a question as well.
Eugene, thank you again for sharing your insights with our ACEs. And I wanted to know from you, what's the scene of entrepreneurship in Georgia? How many accelerators you have? Are they focused on technology or other verticals, for example, agriculture, clean energy, sustainable? Are there any focuses for the accelerators? And is it easy for accelerators to reach for entrepreneurs? Do you have enough awareness in universities and programs to reach all these people and join accelerators, incubators, and programs?
Thank you for this question. Okay. If I talk about corporate accelerators, they're two big banks. First bank TBC, the second Bank of Georgia, and they have some acceleration programs for fintech startups. So if you're working in fintech field and you're ready to pitch your startup and your ideas, you should go to these two banks. First one, TBC. I'm going to write it down in our chat. TBC. The second one, Bank of Georgia. It's a first part. Second
only
part
for
is
fintech, right?
Yeah, I think they are banks and they're really happy for fintech, maybe for other fields, but I haven't made any mentions about it. Looking for something else, they are focusing on fintech. So if we're talking about some agriculture, impact project, wellness, and so on, you should go to JITA, as I mentioned before. They invest in certain projects and every field that could connect to their infrastructure ecosystem. And if we are talking about universities, yes, they have some accelerators that based on university, but I forgot this name. But if you after that reach me out through the LinkedIn, I can share with you this information. They have some techno park, something like that, some co-working space in the university where there's some acceleration program. A lot of young startups making their pitches and making their products, so you can easily collaborate with them. And especially if you are good software developers and have some experience in that, you can be. I think it's going to be a good collaboration for you.
And is it easy for foreign entrepreneurs to come establish in Georgia and have their own license and work from there?
It's very easy because, for example, if you have some, at the early stage, you have some small turnover, it's small business, you're going to have only 1% tax. It's just it's a free country for starting your business to set up here your first entity and making maybe first sales. And as far as I know, if you're making overseas sales, external sales is going to be tax-free for you because they are making startups in business and you're going to charge a tax only in Georgia. So it's really easy to start here and make some first connection with investors, but you should understand that it's a small country, and if you're going to look some international investors, big investors from Europe, the United States, maybe, or from MENA, this jurisdiction like Georgia is not very familiar for them. So if you, for making first steps or maybe collaborating with Georgia startup ecosystem, it's a good way. But if you're going to make to take a big amount of money for some big capital VC, it's not very familiar for them. They're going to ask you to make entity in Dubai, I think, or maybe the United States C Corp deliver as a classic way.
Thank you, Eugene. I guess you're in contact with some accelerators and entrepreneurship programs, right?
Yeah, I have connection with them.
We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch with you. Hopefully, we can invite them to the Aces of Ventures, and we have a pitching competition dedicated to Georgian entrepreneurs, where we can also give them some good perks and prizes for joining the Aces of Ventures. Thank you for joining us, and I'll give back the mic to Jean. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Andre. And again, thank you, Eugene, for being with us. For all the aces here, Eugene, Andre, and everyone else, you can find this workshop on YouTube on our channel, the Aces of Ventures. You can watch it anytime you like, take as many notes as you can. And you will also find Eugene's LinkedIn profile attached in the description if you want to personally connect with him and ask him any question later on. So thank you again, and hopefully we'll connect very soon.
Yeah, thank you guys for your invitation. Thank you for your questions, and I am open to communicate, to connect to anyone. So feel free to reach me out on LinkedIn.